My name is Alexander William Erickson. This is Root Beer 1. I have been looking forward all afternoon to having this cold root beer and getting into this topic of intense conversation and trying to engage not only the adults of voter age and leadership, but also the children, the kids, in the schoolrooms, the summer schools, and everywhere else that this video will expand to over the next 6 months to the next 10 years. What I'm faced with is problem solving. My name is Alexander. I'm the international head of the CIA. And someday that means I get all types of fancy computers and a spaceship, and I get an IBM race truck, and I get Porsches that fire missiles. I get all kinds of stuff. I do not get any of that until I start solving some of the biggest problems on planet Earth. It is commonplace in society right now, on social networking, on TV, in my own home, and probably in yours, to say the words evil president. For me, what I hear is solve evil president. Now let me expand that from my perspective. I'm the federal government. I'm not worried about getting elected. I'm the guy that the Supreme Court of the United States cannot fire. So I have that advantage. First of all, solve. Okay, what are we trying to solve? We're trying to solve the democratic equation. What is my solution for the democratic equation? It's the A, B, C's all the way through G. Autocracy, bureaucracy, cooperation, democracy, education, federal government. What about evil? Ridiculous, repeating results. President. Agreed upon basic categories of democracy, which include the judicial, the executive, and what I call the electorate, or the Senate and the Congress. They have jobs. I am not certain what they are, beyond the Senate makes rules and Congress provides funding for them. Which brings us back to solve evil president. I have the solution, that's my job. In order for me to create the solution, I first have to have my solution to establish myself as a higher power, or not as necessarily as a higher power, but as a more powerful man than anybody else. And I want to be honest with you, I didn't get a calling card to be who I am until I was sitting in the theater watching Heath Ledger play as the Joker. And he hands a card to somebody on a video screen, and it says, "Will the real Batman please stand up?" And when you look into it, that's me. I am Batman, with a little bit more of a Joker mindset. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to get 3 PhDs. I'm not sure what PhD stands for, but it's a big deal if you have them. I'm going to get 3 of them. Communications, Masters of Biology, Astroengineering. I'm going to plan those out. I'm going to have a Super Bowl extravaganza for those three as they progress. But now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to assign a PhD. What my goal is to assign one of our senators, and I think that Elizabeth Warren, being from Massachusetts, is a fantastic candidate, and I'm sure others will apply and be interested. To say, I have not been president, but I understand the basics of who a president is supposed to be and how we can set up the social engineering rules and structures of a democracy again in some place new. It's saying we have to say, okay, we have a democracy, yes, and we're going to continue having our democracy, which we're going to keep on calling evil president. We've been saying this. We were calling George W. Bush evil. We called Bill Clinton evil. We called Ronald Reagan evil. We called John Kennedy evil. We called them all evil. At some point, we have to say, okay, some of these things we were obviously doing right. So let's take a really educated standpoint and let's provide somebody a long-term PhD assignment where they can go through and say, all right, let's rebuild democracy from ground zero. We're still going to have the executive and the judicial and the elected branches of government. This is probably what we're going to call them. And then we can go about setting each of those pieces into motion over a 4 to 8 year period. Because what we have in this country is a confidence that even in the Democrats' most upset, displeased hour, they still ceded the victory to the Republicans and provided them the White House. It is important to know that if we all decide to work together as Americans and say we are going to make America great again, we are going to stop having these ridiculous repeating results from not just our president, but from our Senate, from our judges, from our